So England are going to the Euros now. As Gareth Southgate is manager, as we suspected. Harry Maguire is ruled out of the squad due to his calf injury. Grealish is out. Maddison is out. There's a few others that are out, like Quansah, who we didn't really expect to go anyway. But I think there's a debate to be had as to what our best 11 is. I'm going to talk about that in this video. It's going to be a short, concise one. I'm going to need you guys to put down into comments what your best 11 is as well, because I feel like we could start a real discussion here. So it looks like we're going to be going with a 4-2-3-1. In the past, he went with a 5 back. I think when we lost in the final against Italy 3.5 years ago, it would have been now. I think he went with a 5 back, definitely at parts of that tournament, or maybe in 2018. But it's always been a 4. During that tournament, I think it was Rice and Phillips in midfield, but there's a discussion to be had who plays Rice now because Phillips is completely out of the picture. But in net, we've got Pickford. I don't think anybody's going to be getting ahead of Pickford unless they're injured. We've obviously got Ramsdale, who's not played football this season other than in cup competitions. And we've also got Dean Henderson, who's been in and out of the Palace squad due to injuries. But I think he's had quite a strong end to this season. Personally, I genuinely have Dean Henderson as my second goalkeeper because Ramsdale's not played enough. We saw how rusty he was when we lost to Iceland the other night. But Pickford in net at right back, I don't think you can really choose anybody other than Kyle Walker. Obviously, we've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, but I feel like he might be better deployed in midfield. And who knows, maybe Arnie Slot's been telling Southgate, let's play Alexander-Arnold in midfield, let's see what he's made of. But obviously, it's great to have Alexander-Arnold at cover at right back. Joe Gomez can also cover there. Trippier can obviously also cover there. Konsa can cover there. So we've got cover at right back, but I feel like no matter what, Walker has to play there because we end up dropping into a 3. Walker drops back, and then the left back normally bombs forward or drops into a pivot. So Walker's the best suited to that position. Centre back, Stones has to play. I know that he started off the season well for City, and then he's injured for a bit, and he's been in and out of the squad, and really is not nailed down his place. But there's such quality there, and there's to be honest, every team in the Premier League, other than Manchester City, Stones walks into their starting 11. I don't know who'd disagree with that either, to be honest, because he's so good. Pep likes to deploy him at centre back, but he also goes into midfield, so he's so comfortable on the ball. He started off at Barnsley, and then he went to Everton, and he's always been such a good player. So I think Stones has to be in at centre back. The partner is one which worries me. We've got Gay in Maguire's absence. We've also got Konsa, and we've got Lewis Dunk. And I don't know who's the best to pair him. Gay is probably the best, but he didn't play a huge amount towards the end of the season due to an injury, but he looks class. Konsa, he's been good. He got top 4 with Aston Villa, with Unai Emery. Was it top 4? I think it was top 4. And he played basically every single game. And it's so difficult now we've not got Maguire because Maguire was so good at just dropping and letting every other player do everything. Maguire would be like a libero. He'd drop back and just play it around however he needs to. He'd anchor that defence so well, and it's one of those where not many people's rated him in national football, never mind club football, but in national team football, they've always said that we're limited with Maguire, but I feel like Maguire was the glue. And, we've got Lewis Dunk, who he's had a decent season. We've had Konsa, who's had a good season. We've had Gay, who's a good player, but not necessarily had a great season. So it's going to be so interesting. I'd personally go Gay. So far we've got Walker, Stones, and Gay. Left back, I'm going to go Trippier. Really, who else have got? Joe Gomez can play there. I suppose Konsa can cover at fullback, unless I'm missing somebody. I don't think that there's any solid left back there. Luke Shaw, of course, but I don't know whether he's going to be fit enough to start. If he can start, Luke Shaw is my number 1, but I'm going to go Trippier, especially for this game that we've got coming up. Next Tuesday, I think it is. Next Tuesday, I want to say. It's next week anyway. In our first group stage match. So yeah, Trippier gets the nod, even though he's been awful for Newcastle in the second half of the season. Hopefully he can turn up. CDM, it's going to have to be Rice. Rice gets in there no matter what. Nobody's allowed to even displace him out of their squad. Although he's not exactly a natural anchor man, as much as people might think he is, he's better in a midfield too, which is where he's going to be in. Arteta towards the end of the season was putting Partey in CDM or Jorginho, and then Rice was in the sort of box-to-box, more defensive one of the midfield too with Ødegaard. But Rice is going to have to be one that sits back. And next to him is going to have to be Alex Arnold. Not his natural position by far, but Alex Arnold must be up there with our top three most technical players. You know, Foden is in with a shout. Obviously Kane, obviously Palmer, but I feel like it has to be Alex Arnold in CDM. You know, Manu, decent little youngster, but he's got a mistake in him, and is what 19, 20. Wharton is in the same boat, although I feel like Wharton is definitely in 2 to 3 years' time going to be in there with Rice. I feel like there's no discussion. There's not going to be any discussion. I feel like Wharton is an absolute world beater. I feel like he steps above Mino. If Mino was at Crystal Palace and Wharton was at Manchester United, I feel like we're speaking about Wharton as one of the best Premier League players already. But got to be Alex Arnold. And we've also got Gallagher in that position, who brings so much energy and is so good. I feel like the pecking order next to Rice is Alex Arnold, Gallagher, Wharton, and Mino. That's what I'd advertise, but I know that Manchester United fans will probably disagree. So the three behind the striker for me has to be Palmer on the right, Foden on the left, Bellingham through the middle, and then it'll be Kane up front. We already know that. I've missed out Saka there. I've missed out Anthony Gordon there, and I've also missed out Eze. But I feel like Saka is the most natural on that right wing position. For Arsenal, he's been in their top three scorers, and I feel like people are really underrating Saka. They're not including him in his 11. I've not seen many people including Saka. But I'm the same. I feel like Palmer has to go on that position because Palmer's got that element of flair, which Saka doesn't have. Palmer's a better creator, in my opinion, than Saka. And because it's a three behind the striker, I feel like Palmer probably has a better work rate, tracking back potentially. I might be chatting there, but I feel like Palmer's my right winger. Okay, and I'm not moving from that. Bellingham in attacking midfield. There's no discussion really. Moved to Madrid. He's had a phenomenal season, although he's tailed off towards the second half of it. They played him at striker in like a false striker cam sort of number 10. It's going to be a completely different role what he's going to be playing for England because he's played a bit of everywhere for Madrid. But for England, I feel like he's going to predominantly be in the middle, dropping if he needs to, and linking the lines. And even getting in behind. If Kane's doing his typical dropping in between the centre backs, if he's getting a bit impatient, then Bellingham can deputise up front. Left wing, I'm going with Foden. He's got to be the top three most technical players, as I've discussed previously. Pep's moulded him into being one of the best Premier League players. And this season, Foden's really found his best football being in a left centre mid position in the 3-2-5 that they play at Manchester City, is it, or a 3-2-4-1, whatever you want to say. I feel like Foden's only getting better as time goes on, and I feel like he has to start. I feel like the fact that the manager seems to enjoy playing Gordon on the left wing, and apparently people are saying that Gordon might be his number one left winger come next week. It's a bit worrying because Gordon's not that good. He's average, and he's going to improve at Newcastle. Obviously, he's going to improve, but I don't think that he's good enough to start, especially when you look at his competition. I feel like Eberechi Eze is even better than Gordon. And to be honest, if he wants to play a player who's a bit more familiar with the left wing position, I'd be going with Eze and benching Gordon, because I feel like Eze is a bit like Palmer. He's got the ability just to create something out of nothing or take on four players or something that Gordon doesn't have. Gordon is decent finisher. He'll make good runs. He'll play some 1-2s, but I feel like he's not got much in the bank that Eze doesn't have. It's unfortunate they've not got Grealish, because I feel like Grealish should be a good number one spot for that left winger, but apparently not. So, yeah, and Kane, do I really need to discuss why Kane's up front? Quite frankly, I feel like the second striker is Watkins, the third striker should be Solanke, and Tony should be the fourth striker, and not even going on the plane to the Euros, but for some reason Solanke just hasn't been thought of. I don't know why. So we've got the situation that we've got. Watkins doesn't seem to perform on the national team level, but I feel like when we come up against better opponents, Watkins will flourish more because he's got a really good ability to get in behind the line. Emery told him, when you're getting in behind, stay central. And Watkins is probably the best Premier League striker, other than maybe Haaland, obviously, at getting behind defences, making chances, getting his team up the field and getting goals. So, yeah, that's my 11. Pickford, Walker, Stones, Gueye, Shaw if he's fit enough, if not Trippier. Then we've got Rice and we've got Alex Arnold. Right wing, we've got Palmer. In behind the striker, we've got Bellingham. Left wing, we've got Foden. Not in behind, up front, sorry. We've got Kane. And that leaves some really strong players on the bench. You know, before you've even mentioned the likes of Ivan Toney and Watkins and Saka, You've got Wharton as well. We've got Mainu. We've got some defenders there. So it's either going to be Trippier or Shaw who's being left out. So we've got such a strong squad. My prediction for the Euros, I feel like we'll definitely get into the semis, if not further. A lot of people are predicting us to win. That's very bold, and I don't think it's going to happen. Is it coming in? I'm not too sure. But guys, tell me your 11s down in the comments, please. I'll get back to each and every one of you. Discuss mine. Is it bad? Just tell me. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully England can bring it home.